Welcome back, nail queens. Today's Dip With Me video is using Kara's Claws products, from the dip powders down to the dip liquids. So I want to thank Kara's Claws so much for sponsoring this video. It's my first ever sponsored video on my channel, so it's very exciting for me, different, but it's not going to look any different for you guys. Anyways, so she sent over 3 dip powders for me to use and try out and show for you guys, and these dip powders are releasing this Friday. So these powders I'm showing you are actually UV changers. So I already swatched them and I'm going to throw them in my UV lamp for you guys so you can see the change. So right now they're like a purple, a very light blue, and a yellow. But when I take it out of the lamp, they're going to change to a different color. So you have a darker purple, a pink, and like a apricot orange. And these colors are part of the Conversation Hearts trios that she has releasing tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you guys like these UV changers, I'll have the colors and the website listed in the description box below. But time to get into the manicure. So the colors I'm using right now are Not Tonight and Dream On. So they're both UV. It's the light blue and the purple. I know, I'm putting purple on my nails. So I decided I wanted to do another ombre. I know this is going to be my 3rd ombre this year, and we're barely into January of 2022. So this ombre is going to be a little bit different than the other 2 ombres I've shown you guys so far. I did a solid ombre and a solid and glitter ombre, and this is a glitter on glitter. So I'm ombreing 2 glitters together. So I do this kind of like the same way I do a solid ombre, but I find glitter ombres to be so much easier to do. So if this is something you're interested in doing, just know it's so much easier to do than solid ombres. It's not intimidating, or it shouldn't be intimidating in my opinion. It's just time consuming if you're going to do it on all 5 or 10 fingers. I'm also using the Kara's Claws dip powder liquids in this video, and I found that the formula of them is like a medium viscosity and thickness, and they have the perfect dry time for this ombre. They didn't dry too fast, which made it really easy for me to do the ombre, but look, I'm able to dust off the glitter off of my nail pretty quickly after it dried. I was amazed at how fast it dried after I applied the powder. So you'll notice that as I do more of these layers of ombre on my nails, how quickly I dust off the excess dip off of my nail after actually applying it. It's like the liquids dry slow until there's actual powder on it, and then it really absorbs it really well. So I was very impressed with these dip liquids. I felt it was great for this ombre application. So this time I started with the darker color, which is the purple. On the first layer I started with the blue, the second layer I start with the purple, and then when I do my 3rd layer I'm going to start with the blue. So just keep that in mind when you're doing ombres. It's always important to swap out which color you start with on your next layer. So that's why I did. See how quickly I brushed that off? That's insane. It absorbed it so fast. And also what I'm doing between changing out colors, I don't know if you can notice, but I'm using that ombre brush there that's in the background, and when I switch from like the blue to the purple powder, I actually wipe the brush on the paper towel. That way it gets off any excess powder that is on my brush before I dip it into a completely different color. I don't want my blue powder getting into my purple jar and vice versa. So I felt like this ombre was really easy to do. It's very simple. I did do 3 layers, and I am wearing jelly tips on my nails, so the thickness is a little thicker than I'm accustomed to because I did 3 layers of the glitter and a layer of clear on top. So it is a little on the thicker side. If you like your nails to be a little thinner, I would probably recommend 2 layers of ombre and 1 layer of clear, just in my personal opinion. So it's going to feel very repetitive because I'm actually repeating the same process on all 5 fingers on this entire hand. But if you are not comfortable or haven't really mastered doing ombres, maybe pay attention to this part. I'm just going to zone out and have some music playing so you guys can really just watch my technique and you don't have to be distracted by me talking. Oh, and I had someone ask in a Facebook group the other day when they saw my previous ombre mani, they asked if I was actually touching my nail with the brush. So I know that you can't really see that, but no. When I ombre glitters, I am sprinkling it above the nail where I want it to land. I'm not actually making the brush come in contact with the nail. If I did that, my brush would get kind of like gunked up and gooey. So I want to show you guys, now that you can see the blue to purple a little bit better on this layer, I'm going to put my hand in my nail lamp so that you can see what it looks like when it changes color. So it looks like a pink to purple. I think that's really neat with these color changers, and when you're doing ombres with color changers, you can completely have a completely different manicure, and I think that's really cool. So I only have 2 fingers left to go, and I'm going to switch things up a little bit to show you guys what I would do if I were going by layers instead of 1 finger at a time. What I mean by going by layers is you're going to see me do my ring and my pinky finger at basically the same time. So I'm going to do the first layer of ombre on the ring and then move over to the pinky and do the first layer there. Then I'm going to dust everything off and do the second layer on the ring and then the pinky. Dust everything off and then go to the third layer on the ring and then the pinky. So that's another way that you can do your ombres if you want to do 1 layer at a time on all 5 fingers instead of going 1 finger at a time, all 3 layers done at one time for a finger. You can totally do that. And actually, I recommend that if you are the kind of person who has a super slow drying dip liquid and it dries so slow that you have to wait like 3 minutes for the base to completely dry. I recommend doing it this way versus doing it the way that I've been doing, where I just dust it off immediately after. Okay, I'm seriously loving how these look sugared. Ugh, I wish I could keep this texture. I don't know if I would be able to handle the texture. It's not really my style, so I'm going to clear encapsulate everything, and then obviously I'm going to use a glossy top coat at the end of the mani. But man, I love the way sugar nail looks. I just don't know if that's a texture that I can handle and I can live with. So the clear encapsulating is all done. I'm dusting everything off because I need to activate, file, shape, and buff. I won't dust off the last two nails that I just did because if I did, I'm going to mess up the clear. So I'll dust those off in a couple minutes once they've had some time to set. I'm using the Kara's Claws activator to activate the nails, and then I'm going to dust off the last two nails now because I feel like they've had plenty of time to set, and activate those as well, and then go into filing, shaping, and buffing. It has been requested many times over for me to incorporate and keep that into my footage, and I think I did a pretty good job in this manicure of staying in frame. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. The first thing that I usually do when I do my filing, shaping, and buffing is I focus on actually shaping. So I want my side walls to be nice and tapered a little bit and my free edge to be completely flat. So I'm using this skinny file to focus on the side walls and the free edge. And you'll notice that I'm kind of like hooking the nail file underneath my nail on the sidewall area, and that's because sometimes a dip powder kind of like gets under there, kind of weird. But since I've already activated it, all I have to do is just file the underside right off to make it look nice, crisp, and clean. Since filing, shaping, and buffing is such a long and tedious process, I'm gonna make sure to only show you guys my thumb process when I'm buffing. I know I've brought it up before, but I tend to buff in regions, so I focus on the sidewalls, the cuticle area, and then the free edge, and then I'll go in lastly and focus on the top to get the top completely smooth like the rest of the areas. But I always want my sidewalls, my cuticle area, and my free edge to be thinner than the center of my nail where the apex and strength should be. So that's what I do and why I only buff in those regions the way I do. I'm using this glass cuticle tool to really get out any excess gunk that may have gotten stuck in my skin. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but after you activate your dip powder, it kind of like melts it into the cuticle nooks and crannies, and it's kind of annoying and doesn't look as clean as it could. So using that little glass cuticle pusher, that pointy end of it has really helped me making sure I get any gunk that might be in there. It's really gross. Like, look, that's gross in my opinion. I mean, it's not disgusting. It's not like it make you want to puke or anything. You're not looking at poop, but it is just like to know that that was there just clinging to your skin is a little weird to me. So now moving on to cleansing my nails with rubbing alcohol to make sure I got any dust and debris off of my nail, and then I'm going to reactivate all of my nails an additional time to give it that final harden and cure to make sure everything is perfectly hard so I don't have to deal with cracking or peeling or any issues or any problems. And now I'm going in with my top coat. So I couldn't find instructions on the Kara's Claws website, so I'm just going with my best judgment in the way I usually use my dip liquids. So I'm applying one layer of dip top coat onto my nail, and then I wipe the brush on my paper towel just to be extra sure that no activator gets onto my brush. And then I'll do all 5 fingers at once and then repeat and go back from my thumb down to my pinky. Now, since this was my first time using the Kara's Claws dip top coat, well, the whole dip liquid system, I wasn't sure how it would dry using the method that I usually do, but it's dry. No issues, no streakiness. It passed the test. I'm super glad to report that. And it has a really nice shine too. So I'm very excited about how this manicure turned out. I know I'm wearing a purple, but it's ombreed with a blue, so it doesn't really count for my anti-purpleness, in my opinion. So I really like how this turned out, and I like that you can see the glitter of the blue flowing down into the purple. I think that's really nice. I like how it turned out. So I'm gonna go take some mani shots and show you guys that in a second, and I'll be right back. This is the mani when it's in the shade. There's no UV exposure. You see the purple to like the almost white. It's like lightly tinted blue. And then it transforms to a darker purple and then pink at the cuticle area. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you get notified of videos coming every single week.